Rituals, and this is the latest installment of the Accessibility Magic series. And by all means, this is something anyone can use, but I just figured I'd put it in this series. But what I wanted to talk about today was mind mapping for your spell work and rituals. Because one of the things I realize with my lovely ADHD, autistic, neurospicy brain is that's a lot of times when I look at a situation, I've got this like complex array of like internalized inside my head of here's the thing, here's all the possible things, here's all the other variables. If this, then that, then if this, then that, this won't work. Okay, that won't work. Okay, then if this, then that. Here's the thing we're going to run into over here. We need this, we need this. Okay, well, I don't have that. So what are we going to do there? I can do all that inside my head. And I realize sometimes, like when people are asking me things, like I might come off as being like, yeah, no, that's not going to work. Because I've just processed through 20 different layers of things and variables and outcomes and all the ways that it can work and can't work. And sometimes I'm like, no, yeah, that's not going to work. Because my brain functions sometimes at a much more rapid pace, but I also have very highly attuned visual processing skills. And mind mapping was something that I became familiar with. I used to do a lot of project management, and it was a way kind of to visually sort of outline, like brainstorming in a way. And it's I mean, if back in the day when you did like flow charts and stuff like that, it's sort of like that. In kind of looking at, and it's very unstructured. You can do, there's plenty of like programs and software that you can do for mind mapping if you're really into it and want to pay money for it. But I find just grabbing a pen and paper is the best place to start. So before I go into like, I'm gonna draw a little bit on here to show you kind of the process of it. So just to give you a little bit in a nutshell of it, is mind mapping is a way that you can really brainstorm anything, whether you are doing character development for writing, whether you're doing project management for your website, whether you're designing new products or like a or ritual service or anything like that. And you don't have to worry about the order and structure, which my ADHD loves. Autism likes a little bit more order and structure. So, I let them duke it out because it depends who's in the driver's seat that day. And it allows you to really visually structure your ideas. Because what I realize a lot of times when I'm talking to people, or even when I'm approaching my own spell work, it's kind of like, I'm going to put it in an older pop cultural reference. The South Park episode with the underpants gnomes. Steal underpants, ? Profit. Okay, so what's all that stuff in the middle before we get to the outcome? So that's what we have to think about. Sometimes there's just layers and things we're not seeing, whether they be magical or mundane. So this is a way to really help you think through your spell work, because a lot of times people are like, well, I tried this isn't working. Or sometimes what I've been really advising people is let's look at this from a multi-layered approach. You might need to do 10 things before you do that one big thing that's going to get you those results. So this is a good way, an exercise in how to really think about your spell work. And you're not going to find this in a book. You're not going to find the ritual that goes with it, but you can put all the components in one place. And you can put, you can write, I just put this on a piece of paper, but you can, easily put this in any of your grimoires, or your Book of Shadows, anything like that. There's different types of, you can probably download like JPEGs or PDFs of ones you can kind of fill out online. So what you're going to do in this mind map is you're going to make a diagram representing your main thing, what's the goal. So I'm going to use in this one money magic. So because that's a very popular topic. Because hey, who would like to have more money? You can use this to map out any of the concepts, items and tools, if there's a specific ritual, if you need to research something. And then you're going to take a really non-linear approach to graphically lay out all of this to build out your framework for this. And you're going to discover a lot of stuff along the way. And you can also make this a fun creative project. This can be combined if you do like vision board kind of stuff. You can also work this into that as well. And you can use as many color gel pens as you like, because I've got way too many. Because I had this phase of like the adult coloring books like 4 or 5 years ago, hyperfixation, and needless to say, I have like 500 of these gel pens. So I'm like, well, I might as well use them before they all dry up. Anywho, so there's a lot of resources for this online, and what they've kind of realized with the mind mapping is that it really calls upon, in a different way, the brain's functionality and how we access our memory system. Like, my short-term memory is absolute crap. I can tell you it, and like the Christmas of 1986 was like, though, in pretty pristine detail. So it helps with that. And for us neurospicy folks, definitely sometimes need a little help in the organization area. And it's really going to stimulate your and challenge you to really look at your spell work and ritual crafting in a much different way than you may have approached it before. I know, like, when I was like, I just had one of those like moments where I'm like, I should be mind mapping this, because it's like I've been trying to do a lot of work for like money magic, but I'm like, you know what, I really need to break this down. This isn't one ritual. This is like targeted things for all sorts of different aspects that go into money magic. So it's a good way of getting information in and out of your brain. Sometimes things get stuck up here. And they have, usually you start from like a center point with it. And you might, depending on what you're doing, have multiple center points. Sorry, I forgot. It's just to keep myself on track. And like, think about it in terms of like the map of the city. What's at the center of your city? A lot of cities, it's a city hall or some kind of town hall building, things like that. You kind of build out from there. So, think about the main idea, the main roads, is there a river going through the middle of it? It's a Billy thing. So let's look at how I'm going to approach doing the mind map. And I'm going to kind of talk through it and show as I'm writing. So I don't have great handwriting, but we're going to go money magic. Okay, so that is the central thing. What do I want to achieve out of money magic? Well, I would like to achieve, maybe it's not so much achieve first, but what is going to lead me to a place of having a prosperity mindset, number one, because sometimes our mind kind of, mind over matter. Sometimes we kind of fuck up our own track. But what needs to happen for me to get to a place of financial stability and abundance? So let's think about that. The first thing is, let's go pay off credit card debt. We've got that little thing. So that's number one, pay off credit card debt. Let's, analyze, our monthly budget. What are we spending money on? Are there things in that budget? Because I am notorious for getting subscription services to things and then not using them. And then suddenly you're like, wow, okay, all these little, $10 here, $30 there, $40 there. And I'm like, well, I just trimmed, $300 out of my budget by doing that little thing. So this is kind of looking at how you can break down things into mundane versus magical. So what I might do here, is maybe I should have brought all my pens over. I did not do that. But so maybe what I want to do here is I'm going to make a little star under that analyze budget that says mundane. This is what I have so far. So starting to bridge out from there. So from, looking at the monthly budget, pardon the coughing, I just filmed the incense video before this, so it's a little in here still. So, and from analyzing the monthly budget, okay, where do we go from here? What can I cut? So that's also a mundane thing. Now, depending on the type of work that you do, now for me, my income is based on sales revenue every month. Now, if you're working at a job that's has an hourly wage, or you're working at something that's salaried, you're going to have different approaches to manifesting money, and they're going to be very specific to those things. So if you're working at a salaried job, you might be like, okay, well, I need to be paid more. I want to get a raise, or I want to get a bonus. So now for my money magic thing, I'm going to make another bubble that says, I put business. So for me, with business is going to be increasing monthly revenue. Exploring, new revenue streams. Like that's something that I've been doing a lot this year, looking at, like, I just set up, there's a platform called Faire, F-A-I-R-E, that is basically like a wholesale marketplace for retailers. So you can't just go on there and buy stuff at because I'm like, well, I could get it cheap at wholesale price. You actually have to like register as a business, and if you have a business, great, you can do that. But that's kind of the purpose of it. So that's something new I've explored as a revenue generation option. So again, it's something mundane, but is there magic? What magical solutions? I realize I'm getting this all stuck on the right side of this, but what are the magical solutions I can do to increase revenue? So now we've identified that, okay, in order to increase my monthly revenue, what kind of magic do I want to do? So from there, maybe I will do a monthly ritual. I work with Mammon a lot for that. So maybe I'll do a monthly ritual for Mammon for that. Now, exploring new revenue streams, you might want to look at, okay, well, maybe we could do something with, ritual wise for that, but maybe we want to do like, there's little things you can do, like you could do like an enchanted sigil in your graphics or something, so maybe you'll just enchant your website, because that's something you can do. Put a little invisible pixel, do the job. So that's something you can do there for exploring the new revenue streams. Now for both of these, you could also create a servitor as to go out and kind of be looking at generating new leads, new opportunities for you, and stuff like that. So now we've kind of got so now we've got some stuff going here. So that's kind of looking at least the business area of this. And again, this is very unstructured. What else can I do for business? I can make new products. Okay, so that's another thing I can do for revenue generation. I can, have a sale. I can, find better suppliers for supplies. So there again, something you can do. So now I'm starting to kind of look at this in, different terms. And each of these things I can break out into a much more, I should have brought more paper over here with me, but I'm just doing this kind of a rudimentary, kind of get you familiar with the idea of this. So we're still looking at the money magic thing. can go back and forth with this. So, looking at the paying off credit card debt, well, I could do a ritual for that. I did that in the past. This time I'm just going to be more specific, as I have mentioned before, be specific. So ritual, for debt relief, or yeah. As I mentioned before, as I started to say, it was, I had done this in 2021. And I did have a lot of, I had like $30,000 in debt, like written off that year. However, there was one little oopsie daisy there. I wanted to have my car loan paid off, and it got paid off because my fucking car got totaled. I wasn't in it, but it was hit on the parked on the street, and whoever hit it hard enough to total it. But it was paid off, but not how I had envisioned. And in that being paid off, and also my insurance company really only covered what was left on the loan. So I didn't have really anything to put down on, like, for a down payment on a new car. So I ended up leasing, which is way more expensive. I think it was double what my monthly car payment was. And my car insurance went up because of the, being involved in an accident and whatnot. So, so be specific, because you might be like, I want to pay off my house. And they'll be like, okay, we burnt it down for you. You get an insurance settlement. Not what you want. So be specific. Yes. So what else can I look at in money magic? So, medical debt. Because my insurance company screwed me, and I'm trying to unscrew myself on there. So that one is a question mark for me right now. But I might do some work to get that taken care of, because they fucked up and didn't give me the right information, which for the spinal procedures I had, and did not tell me I had an $8,000 out-of-pocket deductible before. And when I called before having them all, to make sure I could afford it and that it was covered and all that. So that was their fuck up. They're currently trying to figure out what the status of the fuck up is, but I have to probably follow up on that, because I feel like I make a note to myself on my mind map to follow up with my stupid insurance company. Although I'm in the process of moving to a better insurance plan, and I've got all this other stuff going on there. So that's another thing. That might, there's going to be the mundane things I need to do towards that. But also I might be able to do some magic towards that of, chucking my medical debt into the abyss and letting it just kind of disappear somewhere. So, okay, we have that. The next big thing, and this might, require its own mind map, as it were, is I am looking at moving out of the city. I would like to do that by the end of this year. There's a couple things I need to take care of, because remember how I said I had that debt settled back in actually it's between 2020 and 2021. One of the agencies didn't report it correctly to the credit score companies. So while this debt has been resolved since October of 2020 and paid off, part of it was charged off, and I paid off the rest of it through a debt consolidation company. However, when I've dug deeper onto my credit score to find out why it's a hot shit show, is that it's been showing that I have a $6,500 outstanding debt to this credit card company that is 3 years delinquent. That's something I gotta get taken care of. I'm in the process of it. I'm just waiting for paperwork to get here, and phone calls. But you can do stuff like magic wise. There's things you can do to influence this. So just have a credit score on there. I can look at, when I, put my house on the market, what I can do to get the house to sell. There are crystal grids you can do for that. There are different spells. I'm not from, that's something I would actually have to research. So what would be a good spell for that? Or a good spirit to work with. So now I'm thinking more like kind of in depth on this. So are all of these things doable? I might be at a point, like say with the insurance company thing, magic or mundane stuff might not work to at least get that taken care of. So we might need a plan B of, this is where we go to, cutting expenses and increasing business revenue. So this is fairly messy, but this is my current mind map for this. So all this came out of just doing money magic. So we see it's not just as simple as I just need money and bring me money. We're really drilling down into what we need money for, the mundane and magical things, and then how we want to approach this. So what else do we need for money magic? Because I've got a little hole here and I want to fill it with something. Maybe we just make this this little area here is the unknowns. So this is where we're going to put all the things that, maybe we haven't anticipated, or as we work through things on our mind map, like, okay, I can't get, the medical debt could be an unknown. The credit score is an unknown. All these things are. So, and with the moving stuff. So I need, to find a new house that I can afford, and everything is really inexpensive right now. Like I have to figure out how to afford probably over $300,000 house by myself, because anything under that is either needs another $100 and something thousand worth of work, or is in a really crappy area. So, or it's just an empty plot of land in which I'd have to build something on. So I want to find the right house that I can afford. So when I'm in that spot, I'm going to be doing some magic towards that. So you can see how this can really help you take a very broad concept and then, narrow it down. This isn't just one big, ritual. I mean, yes, you can do, you could do, just a blanket money magic, bring it to me in all avenues and whatnot. But as I said, being specific is always a good idea, because results may vary sometimes, as I've learned, especially when it comes to money magic. So now that you've got your little mind map here, we could start. This is fairly small. I mean, I would do this probably, multiple pages. I mean, you can, tape other pages together if you're doing it like this. You can add it in with a vision board. You could just keep adding on to it. So what I would want to do from the money magic part is maybe break it down further. Let's look at the mundane stuff. So I would do a separate one. I'm not going to do it right now, but I would do a separate one for what are the mundane tasks I need to do associated with this, and kind of come up with my, whether it's a bullet point list or, what are the top 5 things I can do. And then the magical things, same thing, what things I need to do. Whether it's a ritual, whether it's a spell, whether it's a pact, whether, it's a particular spirit you're working with. So you'll have another area here. So now you've kind of got 2 things that go together. And that's kind of the mind mapping in a nutshell. I think this is a really great approach to, hi, Corey, what are you doing? No. Corey, seriously? Come here, brother. Come here. Come here. I'm making a video. And we're back after Corey decided to jump on my laptop, which is on a swivel chair. Buddy, come here. Yeah, he likes to jump on the chair sometimes, so it's not his fault. He just wanted to say hello. Do you want to say hi properly, Corey? Hi. Hello, Bubba. And another thing into my money magic, you need some dental work, which is going to be very expensive. So, yeah, he needs his teeth cleaned and some extractions, and that's probably going to cost me about $1,500. So yeah, Bubba, I love you. Oh, yes, I do. I'm almost done with my video. I may just leave in the part where Corey jumps on the laptop because why the fuck not? Everyone loves Corey, and it's always, always all about Corey. And on that note, I bid you adieu. I'm totally off center now because Corey made my laptop go all spinny. Hi, buddy. Do you want to say goodbye? He's oh, Bubba, you're a good boy. Yes, you're a good boy. He is very happily purring. So, anyways, without further ado, don't forget to click like and subscribe, and especially if you love Corey, because everyone loves Corey. He's beating me with his tail. All right, and now I'm all full of orange cat fur. Love y'all.